Mr. McLardy's Christmas Surprises. Once upon a time there lived a man called Mr. McLardy, and he was very greedy. Mr. McLardy loved his food, and, on occasion, he loved everybody else's food too. He would often invite himself round to his friends' houses for breakfast, and stay for dinner, and tea as well. But there was one day every year when Mr. McLardy would eat nothing at all. Not a sausage, and Mr. McLardy loved sausages. That day was Christmas Eve. Every Christmas Eve Mr. McLardy would stay indoors all day and wait for his friends to arrive with lots of his favourite things for him to eat for his Christmas Day meal. So Mr. McLardy would starve himself on Christmas Eve. He had to. He knew that his friends would bring him so much food that he had to make sure that his tummy was empty so as he could fit it all in. But last year something strange happened. On Christmas Eve morning, his friend Jenny Russ arrived at his house with a large, heavy, round present. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. McLardy, taking the present inside. "Goodness," he thought, "this is a very, very heavy turkey." He went into his kitchen and lifted the present into his fridge. "Brilliant," he thought, "a nice big fat turkey. I'll look forward to eating that." At lunchtime, his friend, Miss Givin, arrived at his house with a semicircular, dome-shaped present. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. McLardy, taking the present inside, smiling. He went into his kitchen and put it into his fridge next to Jenny Roos's present. "Brilliant," he thought, "a nice big Christmas pudding. I'll look forward to eating that." In the afternoon, his friend, Pastor Parcel, arrived at his house with a large box-shaped present. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. McLardy, taking the present inside. He went into his kitchen and put it into his fridge next to the other presents. "Brilliant," he thought, "a big box of scrummy mince pies. I'll look forward to eating them." He rubbed his hands with excitement. In the early evening, his friends, the twins, Holly and Dee Ivy, arrived at his house with a bottle-shaped present. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. McLardy, taking the present inside, beaming. He went into his kitchen and put it inside his fridge door. "Brilliant," he thought, "a nice refreshing bottle of wine. I'll look forward to drinking that. It'll wash my dinner down nicely." Later that evening, his friend, Mr. Last Posting Day, arrived at his house with some odd, tubular-shaped presents. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. McLardy, taking the presents inside. He went into his kitchen and put them into his cupboard. "Brilliant," he thought, "a large selection of Christmas crackers. They are a bit heavy though. They must have some wonderful presents inside them. I can't wait to pull them open, with myself, on Christmas Day." It was now 10:30 at night, and Mr. McLardy, feeling very hungry, looked inside his fridge again. As he did, he noticed Jenny Russ's present. "Oh my," he thought, "that is a very large and heavy turkey. I bet it will take ages to cook. I'm sure Jenny wouldn't mind if I open her present now and start to cook it for tomorrow." So Mr. McLardy took the present out of the fridge, put it on the table and eagerly opened it. "Ah!" cried Mr. McLardy, distressed. It's not a turkey. It's a basketball." Mr. McLardy couldn't believe it. "What am I going to do? I can't eat a basketball for my Christmas dinner. Oh, I'm so depressed." And whenever Mr. McLardy was feeling depressed, he ate. Mr. McLardy got depressed a lot. That's part of the reason why he weighed 125 stones. "I know," he said. "I could eat the Christmas pudding. Yippee!" Mr. McLardy ran back to his fridge. He took out Miss Givin's present, put it on the table and eagerly opened it. "Ah!" shrieked Mr. McLardy again. It's not a Christmas pudding. It's a bicycle helmet." On the helmet was a note. It read, "Look inside for a real surprise." "Oh, it's a trick," cried Mr. McLardy excitedly. "The Christmas pudding is inside the bicycle helmet." He quickly tipped the bicycle helmet upside down, and there, inside, was a surprise for Mr. McLardy. Some cycling gloves, elbow and knee pads. "Could have been worse," said Mr. McLardy. "It could have been a bicycle as well." Just then there was a ring on his doorbell. Mr. McLardy opened his front door. There was nobody there, but there was a large present propped up against his garden wall. Mr. McLardy went over to it. There was a note attached to it. It was from Miss Giving. It read, "Sorry, I forgot to give you this." Mr. McLardy opened the present. It was a bicycle. Mr. McLardy wasn't amused. He ran back into his house panicking. "Food, food, I must have food," he shouted. "Mince pies, mince pies." He ran back to his fridge, took out Pastor Parcel's present, put it on the table and frantically tore off the wrapping paper. "Ah! Weighing scales? What good are they to me? I can't look over my big belly to see the dial. It's too big." Mr. McLardy tried to calm himself down. "I must stop whining," he said. Then he thought for a moment. No, I got that wrong. I must start whining. Where's the bottle of wine?" He ran back to his fridge and took out the twins' present. It's a bottle of..." He hurriedly unwrapped it. "Ah! Water? Yuck! I hate water. What idiot buys summer water for Christmas?" Mr. McLardy was getting more and more depressed. "I'm going absolutely crackers," he thought. "That's it," he cried. "Crackers! They'll cheer me up." Mr. McLardy ran to the cupboard, put Mr. Last Posting Day's present on the table and quickly opened it. "A set of dumbbells?" he groaned. "Why does everybody want me to get fit?" he sobbed. "I know," he thought. "I know someone who will give me loads of food. He has never let me down yet." He went to his kitchen drawer, pulled out a pencil, some paper and an envelope and began to write. "Dear Santa." When he had finished listing all of the food he wanted to eat on Christmas Day, he folded the 20 sheets of paper, put them into the envelope and left them by the fireplace for Santa to see when he came down the chimney. He then wrote another note saying, "Sorry I haven't got any carrots for your reindeer, or a mince pie and a glass of sherry for yourself. I hope you all like bottled water though." He put that by the chimney too and went to bed. The next morning Mr. McLardy woke up, went downstairs and over to the fireplace and saw a very large golden wrapped box-shaped present. "Wow, a Christmas hamper full of lovely food," cried Mr. McLardy. "Brilliant!" He ran over to it excitedly and started tearing hurriedly at the lovely golden wrapping paper. "Oh, thank you, Santa, thank you, Santa, thank you, Santa, for my..." He tore off the last piece of paper. "Rowing machine?" Mr. McLardy put his hands over his face and started to cry. "Why, Santa, why?" he whimpered. Through his wet fingers he noticed a note lying beside the fireplace. It read, "Dear Mr. Lardy, I am giving you this lovely rowing machine for Christmas this year. Not because you are fat. Obviously I wouldn't do that. After all, I'm hardly Arnold Schwarzenegger myself, am I? Ho, ho, ho. It's because you are very naughty indeed by opening up all your presents before Christmas Day. You can't do that. Happy rowing. Love, Santa. P.S. About the water. No thank you. Yuck." Mr. McLardy burst into tears again.